Hi, everyone. Welcome back to Jesus in Mind podcast. So, as you can tell, we're in a different setting today, but that's because today we're going to be cooking and talking about Jesus at the same time. We're going to be making Christmas cookies. So, I'm cheating and I have a mix, but that's okay. Nobody has to judge me for that. And I also have some icing so we can decorate them after. But we're going to do a devotional. I went to a cookie trade-off party the other day for Christmas, and my aunt was the one in charge of it, and she came up with this really great devotional, and I asked her to share it with me so I could share it with you guys. So yeah, let's get into it. Hi everyone, welcome back to Jesus in Mind podcast. So the first step to baking is always the recipe, right? So that's kind of how life is with Jesus. He gives us God's word as our recipe to life. So I'm going to read you guys a Bible verse that goes along with that so you guys can really understand what I'm talking about. Psalms 119:105 says, Your word is a lamp to my feet and a light to my path. In the same way that this recipe on the back of this bag is going to tell me how to make these cookies, God's word tells me how to get through life. So with God's word, we have the recipe to life. We just have to read it and follow it. So with that being said, let's make some Christmas cookies. First, we gotta preheat the oven to 375. Let's get the ingredients out. Half a stick of butter. We're gonna melt our butter in this bowl. I should have cut that out probably. This is not a tutorial on how to make cookies, by the way. I'm the last person anyone should be getting a tutorial from. We're gonna microwave the butter so it can soften for 1 minute first, and then I'm gonna mix it. Bowl has been secured. I think I need to grease my cookie sheet. Dang, I just realized it said to soften this butter, make it microwave it on high for 15 seconds, not a whole minute. It doesn't say if I should grease the cookie sheet, but I'm going to with some butter. That is not where the butter is. I'm greasing my cookie sheet. So a lot of people I've noticed think that reading God's word is kind of like an option to Christianity. Like only the extreme Christians read their Bible every day. Little do they know that they're literally missing out on your life's recipe. Just like baking cookies, some people think they can just bake cookies without using a recipe. And most of the time, that's not going to work very well, especially if you're someone that's inexperienced. We're all inexperienced at life. None of us have been through life before, because if that were the case, we'd be like reincarnated or something. So none of us have gone through life before. So the idea that you can make it through life without a recipe to life is just crazy. So that's why we need God's word to be our recipe and the light to our paths of life. So the next part of our devotional is the ingredients. So here we've got our butter and our Betty Crocker mix, and we've got to get all our ingredients into this bowl. The ingredients of our cookies is like having a godly character. Let's read a Bible verse again. Okay, so unfortunately my microphone stopped working, so I made like an entire 5 minutes of this video and the microphone wasn't working, so I'm gonna get back to where we started off, but I'm gonna be honest, I've gone through some cooking stuff that you guys missed, but I'll catch you up. So right now we're gonna talk about the ingredients that God gives us to life. It's gonna be in Galatians 5:22 through 23. So it says, But the fruit of the Spirit is love, joy, peace, patience, kindness, goodness, faithfulness, gentleness, self-control. Against such things there is no law. So these are literally the ingredients that God gives us to be Christians and to be godly people. This is how you live a godly life and live the life that God has called you to live. So God literally gives us the ingredients to life, and we just have to take those ingredients and actually carry them out. Just like we needed that butter, if we wouldn't have put the butter into our cookies, they wouldn't have turned out as cookies. They would have still been powder, because these cookies, really the most important thing was butter at this point. So if you don't put your love and your kindness and your patience and everything into your life, you're not going to end up with cookies. You're not going to end up with that sweet treat at the end of life. You're not going to end up with heaven, because you're not carrying out that godly life and living a life for God. These ingredients that we just read in Galatians are the ingredients that God gives us to have a holy character. And when you skip out on one of these ingredients, the rest of your life isn't going to turn out the same. You have to use all of the ingredients that God just gave us into your life. You can't pick and choose. Like, patience is one a lot of people do not like, but we still have to carry out patience. It's a very important part of Christianity. So don't forget, you have to carry out all of these ingredients, because if we would have forgot our butter and our cookies, they wouldn't have turned out right. In the same way that if you forget to practice patience your entire life, it's not really going to end up with a fruitful life. The next step to our cookie making is to mix all our ingredients together. So I've been mixing my ingredients into dough. So we officially have dough in our bowl. In James 1, verse 22, for mixing all your ingredients, which is like obedience and living an obedient life of God. So verse 22 says, but be doers of the word and not hearers only, deceiving yourselves. You actually have to carry out this conversation of your recipe and your ingredients and mixing them all together. And then when you mix them all together, that's when your life becomes Christianity and becomes what God called you to do. You had to become doers of God's word before you can create your cookies of life. If I would have left my butter on the counter, we wouldn't have ended up with cookies. Just like you can't leave the ingredients of life down without actually mixing them all together. Just like cookies, spiritual growth happens when you put God's word into practice. Okay, I think I got my cookies all mixed up. It's literally a ball of dough. Can I pick it up? Oh yeah, look, this is my dough. I'm not gonna lie to you, I think I might have messed up, because I think the butter I put in here was from meat. Like, I think that it was used to help season meat, and I think it had some on it, because it has a hint of steak. But it's okay, because they still are gonna look pretty and you guys aren't gonna taste them through the screen. These cookies look really good. The dough is like perfect. So I'm gonna use this Pampered Chef like little scooper thingy. It's like the medium size, I think, and I'm gonna put them on my cooking sheet. Here's my cookies. Okay, now it's time to put them in the oven. So obviously the next step to our cookie baking was to put heat on them. We had to put them in the oven for them to work, which is the same way that in life we have to go through trials that actually are going to shape us and create us into the people we will become. So we're going to be in James again, and we're going to be in James chapter 1, verse 3. 3 says, for you know that the testing of your faith produces steadfastness. So in the same way that our cookies are in there getting real hot and toasty, and they're sweating because they're going through a trial right now. They're having to see if they're going to become cookies in that oven. In the same way that those cookies are becoming cookies right now, going through this trial of heat, we have to go through trials to become strong Christians and practice our steadfastness, because how's God going to know that we're loyal to him and that we want to have a relationship with him if we don't have to practice it all the time? If life was great all the time, we wouldn't think that we needed God. It's in the trials that we realize, like, we need God or else we're not going to make it through it. And that's how we get through life. You have to go through those trials and go through those burdens of life and loss and hurt to figure out that you need God and you need his love and you need his steadfastness. God uses all of our trials for good, just like we're using this oven right now for our cookies for good. We're going to make cookies out of it. If not, it would just be dough. It would never become a cookie. Trials might refine us, but they're not going to destroy us. And God knows that, and we know that because we continue to go through trials. Everybody goes through trials all the time. Some may seem harder than others, but everybody goes through trials, and God gets us through them, even if you don't think so yet or not. God got you through those trials, and He's going to continue to help you. And you're going to get through them a lot easier and a lot better when you use God and you focus on Him. All right, our cookies are in the oven. They're baking for 10 minutes. So actually, once again, another stupid chasing moment. I forgot to start the timer. But I'm going off of how long I've been recording, but I'll just have to check them when it gets close. All right, let's clean up the kitchen while we wait. I'm gonna let all that stuff sit in the sink for a little bit, and I'm gonna continue to clean up while we wait. Look pretty good. If someone were to come in my house right now, they would smell the sweet smell of cookies. In the same way that the sweet smell of cookies just fills our houses, is the same way that Christians are a witness to the rest of the world. Let's read a Bible verse. We're going to be in 2 Corinthians chapter 2, verse 15. Verse 15 says, "For we are the aroma of Christ to God among those who are being saved and among those who are perishing." As Christians, we're literally the sweet aroma to the rest of the world. It literally says here in the Bible, "For we are the aroma of Christ." We are. God's people are the aroma of Christ to the rest of the world. We are, when you walk into the house, you smell the sweet smell of cookies. We are, when you walk into a room, you feel that love of God. That's who we are. That's who we should be, and that's who we should be aspiring to be, is that sweet aroma of Christ. When we live a life for God and the way that God called us to live with love and kindness, we are that sweet aroma to the rest of the world, and we draw people to God. By being kind, by simply just sharing a smile to people, you can draw people to Christ and let them feel the love of Jesus that you feel every day. I'm going to let our cookies sit here and cool off for about 5 minutes, and then I'm going to put them on a cooling rack that is behind me right here. That cooling rack is going to be for our cookies when we're done. Okay, so I let the cookies cool and I put them on this cooling rack. My microphone once again went dead, so I didn't get you guys to film that, but there they are. But I'm going to let them cool off the rest of the way, and then we're going to ice them. So I snipped the end of my icing. I just have red icing, and I'm going to ice my cookies. Alright guys, thank you so much for watching this video of me making my cookies. I hope you enjoyed, and I love you all, and I thank you so much for watching. Don't forget to like and subscribe. And if you also want to watch a daily reminder of Jesus, follow me on TikTok, JesusInMind00. And I don't have any other social media right now because I decided to delete it all for my own mental health. So that is the only social media you can find me on except for YouTube. But that's okay because TikTok is wonderful and I post reminders about Jesus every single day on TikTok. So yeah, go follow me on TikTok, and let's just finish this out with our conclusion. So basically, the Christian life is a lot like baking cookies. We've learned this. We have to follow a recipe just like we follow God's word. We use the right ingredients just like we have to use the fruit of the Spirit. We put it all into practice. We endure the heat of trials. And we let our lives give off the sweet aroma of Christ. Just like when you bake cookies, and my house smells like wonderful sugar cookies right now. So yeah, go live your life like you're baking sugar cookies. Use God's word, put it into practice, And don't forget, in your trials, you will always find Christ, and He's with you always. I love you all. Thanks so much for watching. Bye.